Hey, Nicole.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining me today. It was funny. We were just catching up on kids and I think all the fun things outside of our day-to-day jobs. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
so I appreciate you coming on here. I'd love to have you introduce yourself and, hear a little bit about what you've been doing as a partner marketer.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, so you know what? It's interesting. Like after our first conversation, I was thinking about it and I'm like, okay, well, who am I? And I'm like, I'm a marketer that sits at the intersection of field, partner and ecosystems. And throughout my career, I've gone back and forth, but I truly feel like that's kind of helped, turn me into, this, this a marketer who just is in love with ecosystems, be it working closely with the field and the field sales or on the channel side. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today and talk about ecosystems and stuff like that. So
I think it's really timely because it's funny how things just kind of like ebb and flow. And I think from a flow perspective lately, I've been hearing a lot about go to market alignment and where I think historically partner marketing has sat in this very siloed, kind of like I'm a redheaded stepchild, so I can say it like a redheaded stepchild, right? And but that's changing and it's changing rapidly, and I think a lot of people out there are trying to figure that out. So I think very timely conversation. Why don't we start from the beginning? Like, how'd you get to this point? Tell me a little bit about your background.
yeah, yeah, sure. So, you know, I started out my career when I transitioned to technology marketing because prior to that, I was doing marketing for McDonald's. Um, but when I came over into technology, I first started on the digital side. And so, really early in my career, I was working on digital and running demand generation programs for global organizations like Sage Software and SAP. And that really helped give me a strong foundation in how pipeline is actually created and understanding how the buyers actually move through the funnel. From there, I moved into more field marketing roles, which allowed me to be much closer to the sales team as well as the customer. And then it was actually during that time I was able to really see how critical partners are in enterprise technology. In many cases, the partner is the trusted advisor and the one shaping the buying decision. So I guess that's kind of how I got there, and eventually that helped lead me deeper into channel and partner marketing. And I was at Aryaka where I helped launch and scale a global partner program, and at F5, leading both field and channel marketing. That was really great to like bring it all together. And truly, what stood out to me at F5 is that 95% of the business ran through partners. So, marketing, there had to be a discipline around the ecosystem and our partners from the very beginning, as opposed to trying to latch on and, like you said, like almost have like a secondary thought about the partners.
Is that when you started to see all these functions connect?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely when I had like that big click, because prior times I was either running field marketing or running channel marketing and then having to work with my peers, and that was great, but actually being able to like be at the intersection of all of those places really allowed me to have that full insight into everything and just make sure that we're talking to the customer or talking to the prospect the way we need to be talking to them at the points that we need to, and making sure that the or F5 is speaking the same way as our partners are speaking, as well as our like the rest of the entire ecosystem. Because when you show up in the org to our customers, they don't care if they're hearing about F5 from a partner or if they're on our website looking at some content or talking to our partner. It's just every message has to be clear and having that same speak so as to not confuse. Yeah.
You've moved through a couple different roles there in terms of like digital field partner marketing. How has that helped you as a partner marketer once you got more ingrained into the latter side of it? What kind of advantages do you think you had based on that background you experienced?
Well, here's the thing is partners partners influence pipeline. They influence customer trust trust, sorry, and they influence how solutions get implemented. And so the ability to be able to understand how customers move through the customer journey and how you start in digital by downloading some a content piece and then transitioning to field and going to a field event and seeing the vendor show up there, and then talking to a partner, that all really helped with understanding how we can have a proper conversation and alignment with them. So, um, by having the experience of digital, the content, by talking to the partners and making sure the partners have that proper understanding, and then also in parallel with the field team, um, that just really helps make a partner marketer and all of us just so much stronger because uh, a prospect, a lead, they are not just going to download your content and then they're going to want to buy, or they're not necessarily just going to go to the partner only and then decide that they're going to buy. So by having, attachments with all the various aspects of marketing and making sure that we're all showing up the proper way to the customer, it definitely helps not only the customer but also us. So having that insight is extremely valuable.
Yeah, I know, and I talked to a lot of partner marketers like yourself that have that insight, and now they're working towards, like, building this full go-to-market motion, across the ecosystem. That's a whole 'nother challenge, right? So what are you seeing in terms of, like, trying to do that? Like, what are some of the opportunities to doing a full GTM ecosystem marketing motion? What are some of the challenges there?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So, the customer journey, it doesn't care about how we structure marketing internally. Like I mentioned earlier, they might discover us through digital, through a field event, etc. But we just have to make sure that our teams are not siloed, and that's one of the challenges. Is some of the organizations they still structure it as this is going to be channel marketing. This is going to be digital marketing, and then this is going to be field marketing. And then, unfortunately, because we have these three silos, they're not always talking to one another. And then we come across almost looking schizophrenic when you're going to market because there isn't that red thread that is looped across to make sure that we are talking all in the same way um, to the customer.
Now, how has the buyer's perspective changed, do you think, over the years in terms of not only engaging through those different channels, but now there's this giant partner ecosystem, right? So, how's the buying behavior changing with the partner ecosystem as now a role in this buying process?
Yeah, so here's the thing is the biggest shift is that, very few companies are just looking to buy products and products alone now. People are looking to buy platforms. And when they're looking to buy platforms, they're looking to a trusted advisor to help them with making that decision on what is the right and correct platform that they should be purchasing. And so we have to make sure that, do we educate the partners the proper way on how our product ties in to that platform and make sure that we can educate the partner on how or the benefits of being a part of this platform that the customer is trying to purchase and implement within their organization. So like um, Jay McBain, and other analysts have talked about how we need to be consistent with messaging the benefits of how our products can tie in to a platform. The majority of purchases that are occurring out there now in technology are going through the partner because it is a partner ecosystem and um, because the partner has that trust that I mentioned earlier. So they're not going to go and pitch a product that would not tie into what the partner knows the customer is looking to be able to achieve with this platform, but the right thing. And so, how do we make sure that we are part of that conversation?
No, that makes sense. What do you, from like a practical standpoint, thinking about a partner marketer who's got to put all this in action? Like, what advice do you have for them trying to make sure they're leaning into this approach? Like, what does this look like in practice?
You need to make sure that you're part of the business. You need to understand the strategic needs not only of your business, but also that of the partner. So at the end of the day, like partners have like, hundreds upon hundreds of vendors or platform organizations that they are trying to sell, but how do you make sure that you can be tied in closely with the partner? And a lot of people talk about QBRs. Well, honestly, like between you and me and the people that are going to see this, I don't think you have to wait and rely on a QBR. You need to know what is important to the partner and make sure that you are providing that value on a daily, weekly schedule. Because if you don't have the relationship with the partner and can show the partner how your product is going to make them money and help them increase their share of wallet, then they don't really care about you. So you can't wait and like once every 3 months you're gonna like sit down and talk for 2 hours and try and help them figure things out. You need to be an extension of them and vice versa. And that is what is key is you don't, as a partner marketer, you're not just the person that's sitting on the sideline doing events. What you are doing is being a strategic advisor to help the partners and those within the partner organization, as well as within your organization to help people, so that you can help people find pipeline and also, of course, help close deals.
No, I think that's great advice, and just thinking in those lines in terms of the skill set needed to excel these days as a partner marketer, what skills do you think are more important now than maybe they've ever been before?
Um, I think I think definitely, having that strategic approach, having the ability to go beyond MDF and event support,
Hmm,
and truly having the ability to help shape joint GTM strategies that can drive pipeline.
yeah,
Like,
no.
what is that? Sorry, but
No,
just
I love it. I think because that's a challenge, right? I think a lot of partner marketers are just they're doing a lot. They're wearing a lot of hats and they're very reactive, right? And it's running from that QBR to the product launch, the program launch to
yeah,
the next QBR, and I think just being more strategic and taking a step back. But I think it takes like a purposeful moment to like I need to take a step back and think about this,
yes.
and then how do I be proactive in areas, and that can be really hard when constant deadlines and being have to be constantly reactive, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, like you have to make sure that you have that sales alignment, that cross-functional leadership, because like you said, they're wearing so many different hats, right? And then also that business acumen. Like if you are able to walk in with a partner and, you have your partner sales guy with you there, but you're able to go and show the value that you bring and not just, hey, here's some leads that we can generate, but hey, if we do these type of activities, from the analysis that we've been able to leverage, we can show you that you'll be able to increase pipeline by X. Not only will you increase the pipeline by X, but this pipeline will be higher. There will be a higher probability that this will convert because of X, Y, and Z. They want to see this. There's not enough partner marketers going in and talking to the partners enough about this. But as soon as you start showing that you understand their business, understand what pipeline will convert, etc., they're going to love you and they're always going to want to reach out to you. I think something that I'd love to see more partner marketers do is spend more time with either sales operations or marketing operations and really like roll up your sleeves and get those keen insights and those data points so that you can share with the partners because that once again is going to help you build your relationship, and they'll be coming to you. You
Thinking
want
about relationships, you and I had last time talked a little bit about mentorship and community. I'd love to get your perspective on why you think mentorship and community is so important in the world of partner marketing.
Here's something that I do love about the channel and is probably why I keep coming back to the channel is because it is a true community. And, channel marketing is relatively young. And most of the people that I know in channel or partner marketing kind of fell into it. Like I definitely fell into it. And so, what is important is since most of the deals that are going through, their technology deals that are occurring are going through the channel, we need to make sure that we are continuing to educate people and bring along, you know, the next revolution of channel and partner marketers. And so mentorship is so very important for that. You know, we have all of these people that are in channel and partner marketing that have so much knowledge, and they have that, and we need to make sure that we share that with the next generation that is coming up. So it's important because mentorship helps us learn faster and definitely grow the profession. And um, it's needed more so now than ever before.
No, I couldn't agree more, especially in a world of just it's being dominated by technology and
Yeah,
AI. It's funny at the same time, like how community and relationship and mentorship is almost just as equally important, but in a different area.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
You
want
know,
Oh, go
oh,
ahead.
no, you go ahead. Mhm.
No, 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 go for it. This
No,
is you're my guest. I can't tell you not to talk.
No, I was just gonna say, honestly, I wouldn't be in my position if it wasn't for mentorship. So I am Canadian. I live in Vancouver, and I have this really great network of men and women who have helped coach me and brought me along. And not only that, like mentorship is great for the aspect of, education in our field, but also, if you align yourself with a mentor or a mentee, these are people that can help continue to talk about you when you are not in the room, and that can help validate, how amazing you are and all of the great experiences that you've had, etc. And so it's so very important to help build up your tribe and your village to help you as people navigate the workforce.
I love it. I think a great way to kind of leave the audience is just this final question on, what's the one thing you think partner marketers should rethink right now if you had to challenge people in their current jobs, something maybe they should be doing differently or challenge them on a skill set or just the way to approach things. What's your advice for them?
Yeah. Um, I would say that customers, they're not buying products anymore. Like I said, they're buying platforms, and those platforms only deliver when they have ecosystems behind them. And so, the partners, as I've mentioned, partners are the ones that influence how customers buy, implement, and scale. So, partner marketers have to stop thinking about themselves as a support function, but instead think of themselves as a ecosystem strategist. And there's a lot of tools, associations, and stuff like out there that can help with that. But one of the areas is the Channel Marketing Association, led by Catherine Rose and Amy Bailey. They have some really great stuff out there. There's also the Alliance of Channel Women. That is a really great organization, and can't forget Cloud Girls, led by Rachel. So there's a lot of really great tools, people, and associations and programs out there that our us channel marketers can use to leverage to help us step into the next evolution.
I love it. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. It was a great conversation and appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.